Okay, I'm recording. Welcome to Team Call Tuesday. I'm like super jazzed up. And I forget when, but we were on a call with another team. When was it? Was it last week? I don't know. But I want us to get to a point in our team calls that we are utilizing the chat the same way. Oh, it was last week. It was Brenna's call when Brenna was like dropping all the truth bombs about not giving an F about what other people think. And we were like blowing up the chat. So I would like us to shoot for that, not because like I want you to fake it, but I would like our chats to be engaging so that when it's kind of like as a teacher when you want people to, like participate along with someone talking. Because sometimes when, I talk, I'm sure sometimes it's boring. Anyway, so welcome to Team Call Tuesday. I'm so excited because this month it's June, first of all, when I love June. And here's the chat. Here we go. Oh, Danielle, there's my girl. All of the challenge packs are $20 off. So let me rephrase. Any challenge pack that is originally priced $150 or more is automatically $20 off. So this is the time, you guys. This is the time to go around to everybody and say, because I'm going to assume that your numbers are similar to my numbers, that 80% of people who are interested in joining a challenge group, a fit camp, a boot camp, their hesitation is cost. Now, I want them to be hesitant about cost. So just a real quick mind switch is that if someone is easily going to be like, oh, sure, here you go, here's my $160 on the first invite, and they're not thinking about something, or yeah, here's my $200, they are probably going to be someone who is easily spends money and doesn't always go all in. So people who really think about the cost and really like break it down, and I have to have these conversations, and then I get to come back and be like, oh my gosh, it's on sale. They usually jump on, and then they usually super commit because we want, gosh, I had a girl purchase the other day, and she has been talking to me for forever, and she's like in our current fit camp, and she's really excited, and she started going through BOD, and she was like, oh my gosh, this should be double the price. She goes, there's so much in here. And I was like, I know. So anyways, long rant. Side note, I just did a workout, so I'm still a little like energizy. So I'm probably gonna have lots of tangents. So sometimes you're just gonna have to be like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat. Yeah, they won't go all in. And that's the thing when people ask me sometimes like, hey, do you run free groups? I personally never run free groups. I used to. My first 2 years of coaching, I would run a free group every month. It was part of like my normal system every month. And I had always the same people in my free groups. And they never committed to a challenge group, and they didn't even participate really well in the free group. So I usually did a 7-day clean eating group, and then by day 3 they had already fallen off, because if you're not going to put any skin in the game, you don't see any value in it. So anyways, go back to everybody. May was a rough month for the entire network. It wasn't you, it wasn't me, it wasn't our team, it wasn't just us. Every single person. I'm in multiple chats with like people who are pushing for elite, who are 1-star. Like I'm in different groups, and everyone was like, my gosh, this is taking me the longest to hit Success Club than, in a while. So that's okay, because the harder you pushed in May, the more people are watching you. You planted a lot more seeds maybe than normal. And so now with June, this is the time. And this leads me right into our topic. That's pretty much the only announcement. There's a couple more announcements that if you're thinking about going to Summit, first of all, go. Get there. We don't care how we're going to, what we need to do, get to Summit. And there's a couple, one of the sale prices ends next week. Also, registration ends if you're coming. That's just, you're automatically put into like what trainings you're going to be dependent on like where you're at in your business, which is super great because they are specifically going to be talking to you. However, you can order like food, and I always do because you're pretty tight on time, and so you can get lunches. Anyways, yeah, it is a freaking great price, Rachel. You're so right. So, but this is going to lead me right into my topic tonight of that motivation is a myth. motivation is not a real thing. And I don't know why or where or who it started with, that we kind of got this idea in life that like there are motivated people and there are unmotivated people, when really all of us are pretty much I would call myself a motivated individual. I have goals, I have dreams. I always like have checklists. Like when I went to college, that was like my effing jam. I was like pens, papers, to-do lists, like I had my shit lined out. I did this stuff. That's generally me. However, getting me to do the work to turn in for college was always like, well, you know, maybe I'll just watch like one more show and then I'll write my paper. Or you know what? This was really when Brenna and I got to know each other, when I was like, well, okay, I'll go out to happy hour with Brenna and like, well, I'll do the paper later. Like, motivation is not a real thing. It's something that I swear people portray themselves as a motivated person, almost to let other people just, I don't know, and I don't think it's on purpose, but it's almost like I'm motivated and it makes other people feel bad because they're like, well, I hate getting up early and I'm not a fitness person, and gosh, she's like just killing it. Here's the thing. Habit is it. It's two things. It's one, you have to establish a habit. Anything you want in this world, anything you like, anything you want, anything you need, anything you strive for, you just need to make it a habit. You are not, even if, like, let's say whatever your dream job is, like to be a full-time Beachbody coach, to own your own something, to be an author, a full-time author, to have like best-selling books, not every single day are you going to want to sit down and write the pages for your book. You could be top coach in the Million Club. You could be Ashley Mosed, Melanie Mitro, and maybe not every day you are going to want to sit down and comb through your invites or comb through your stuff. But you have to do it. So habit is the way to go. And let's talk about that for a second, is that most people would rather be certain and miserable than uncertain at the possibility of the life they've always wanted, because certainty is comfortable. Our brain designed us and our bodies to stay safe. Now, that was at a time where, you know, we were being chased by, like, you know, I've read like lots of books where they talk about this, like the brain, like it keeps you safe. Well, anxiety is a sign of fear. Well, we get anxiety when we have to make a phone call sometimes, or we get anxiety when we need to do our invites. So therefore the brain says, oh, okay, don't do that. We're staying safe over here. But no tiger is trying to eat you right now. So fear is not really a thing. And that is why I talk a lot on my Instagram stories or, you know, in person with people about anxiety, and how when I'm in deep anxiety, and I get it a lot, I state the things that make me safe, like physically okay, safe, fed, clothed, all of the things. So I'll say, you know, when I'm really, really anxious, I'll be like, I am safe. We paid rent. Like I'll say all of the things that, you know, on the outside on this piece of paper, as like an adult who has children, it might be like, well, to some people it might be like, well, I hope that you have a roof. You know what I mean? I hope that you paid rent this month. But that's not how anxiety works. So you have to state the things to bring your body and your brain back. That's like, hey, I'm not being eaten by a tiger right now. You need to chill it out. But, and I'm sure that this quote was not made by me, but I remembered it when I was writing notes down. The being certain and miserable is more comfortable than being unsure at the possibility at the life you've always wanted. So it's June. We got 20% off challenge packs. The way to build this business into something huge is to change lives, period. So yes, this weekend we have a coach sneak peek. And some of you might be like, but I have not even sold one challenge pack yet. Or I am still working to make Success Club. Now, that is okay. If you are in our Success Squad, you know, feed, some of us are inviting massive amount of people because we're there in our business. Other people, it is a huge accomplishment to invite 2, 3, 4, 5 people to the coach sneak peek. But ultimately, you have the tools to change someone's life. You did not create 80-day obsession. You did not create Shakeology. So this is not something where you, or the business opportunity or the company that we partner with, you did not create that. So you don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, like when someone says no or they have a question, you don't have to feel like this is all on your shoulders. We are handing people tools. And sometimes when we offer them the coach opportunity and we're like, hey, do you want to see the sneak peek? They might be like, well, I'm not really sure what it is. I sometimes lead with the coaching opportunity to fall back on, well, let's just get you in a fit camp. Because if you're thinking about it, but you just want to test this out, I totally get it. And if you want to build a business that's going to impact your life on a huge scale, mind you, small scale is still a huge win. You coming into this business and being consistent with your workouts, your nutrition, your personal development, right there makes you a happier, healthier person. Therefore, you're a happier and healthier mom or partner or teacher, and all of those people around you are affected in a positive way. So the ripple effect just from you being your best self is huge. So what you can offer is, hey, just come into the fit camp. Let's just get you started. And when you change lives, that is how you build the business. This is not a business where we're in no, I think, who was I talking to? I think I was talking to Rachel, and I was like, no, like, this is not bashing anybody who wants to have a business where they like clean houses or wash windows. My fam, and I think of those specific examples because my family has a very entrepreneurial heart, and my mom's side of the family. And so my mom owned a scrapbook store. They've owned a window washing company. They've owned a carpet cleaning company. They've owned a landscaping company. They've done all of the things. And they're amazing businesses, and they help people a lot, provide services that are needed. But we have the opportunity to change someone's life. They don't have to come in and be a top and like want to build this business into a top coach, but they can come into this community and this tribe and be their best self. And then that ripple effects down and down and down. And coming from a daughter, or I am a daughter of somebody who struggled with her own happiness, the trickle effect matters. The trickle effect matters. It matters if you came from a house that wasn't super happy. And some of you didn't come from that, and I'm so happy for you. And there are people like me on this team who did come from a situation like that. And I wish somebody helped my mom have the tools so that she could be the happiest and healthiest, so that trickled down. So, what we're going to do is we're doing it, you guys. We really are. And I know that sometimes it feels like you're getting a lot of no's. Brenna and I actually just talked on our lunch break today, and she was like, I just needed to call because I feel like I'm getting a lot of no's and I'm getting in my head. And the thing is that the no's are going to come because someone has to be ready on their own time. But I wish that you guys could see what I see, because I'm on the outside. I'm all the way back here, and I've seen you guys grow. And I've seen this team grow from the outside, from a bird's eye view. And it is about to explode if we keep going. You can't stop. You can't start and stop and start and stop and start and stop, because then it's like the traction never builds. So you have to just keep going. And so the habit has to become what we do. So awesome. Just like when I sometimes think the universe just like leaves exactly what we need. So the next huge fitness program that's going to launch is 100 Morning Meltdown. And this program is designed to kind of help you establish a morning routine. And if you've ever read anything like The Miracle Morning or the 5-Second Rule, or honestly any entrepreneur like book or personal development or podcast or anything, they'll say like master your morning and you master your day. So as a CEO and a business owner, you have to decide what are the most important things that you do every single day. I have gone through seasons in my business where it is essential that I wake up first thing and I do my gratitude, my personal development, and my workout and Shakeology, because I'm in a space where I'm not as stable, honestly. And I need to like like seriously like flood my body myself in so I can survive the day. Or by 9 o'clock I'm in an anxiety pool and I'm putting on the movies for my kids for the rest of the day. Yes, baby. Manny? Okay. There are other seasons in my business where I'm in a push season and I'm feeling good. So I wake up and I do my invites first thing in the morning, because the one thing that will absolutely drive your business forward is not scrolling social media. It is not thinking about the invites. It's not looking at the Success Club tracker. It's actually sending the invites, or following up with people, or building relationships and sending them messages, purposefully and specifically. So, and Tiffany, it's okay. Nobody is a morning person. Nobody starts as a morning person. No one is like, I am a morning person from the second I was born. Like, well, Anna, maybe she's raising her hand, but I was a morning person once I got into college and I was student teaching. I worked bars like all through college, like before then, and we were up late. My husband works in the restaurant industry. Like, we are up late naturally. And so I would sleep in. That was just the thing. And then you're not getting things done, because if you wait, whether you're a mom or not a mom, until the kids go to bed or after dinner time to really crush the things you need to do, I promise you, most of the time it won't happen. Sometimes it will happen, but it is motivating and inspiring if you start the day even with 5 invites, or the 2 phases, maybe starting the day right away with your gratitude, your goal writing, or whatever. So 100 Morning Meltdown is going to force that in us to make us be a little bit more intentional with that. But this business is like juggling. So when you get one thing down, the next thing kind of adds in. And so I'm looking at the call right now, and maybe put in the chat, are you feeling like, in regards to juggling, your workout and your Shakeology and your personal development are easy balls that you are now consistently juggling, right? Is that something that you are like, pretty much, I'm not saying anyone's perfect, because God knows I am not, but if you feel like, most of the time, 5 days a week, I know that my consistent habit is that I need to do my workout, all of the stuff. And yeah, you feel really weird if you, like, one day is like not a big deal if I miss my workout, but like if I go 2 days, I'm like, this is weird. My body feels weird. Like, my mind feels weird. Like, what am I missing? Like, I keep thinking I'm forgetting something. And so that's it. So now the 2 things, not only thing, 2 things that really needs to be the consistent juggle. Well, I guess there's more, but is posting and sharing on social media, right? That is something that was my actual easiest juggle. That was my first one. And I have been, I still struggle mostly with personal development. Okay, Lexi, I'm going to give you advice. If you struggle with personal development, do not add that on top of everything else you have to do. Layer it with something you already do. So I listen to personal development when I shower. So I'm already in the shower. It's an easy thing for sharing is easy, inviting is hard. Inviting is hard. I layer my personal development in the shower and when I'm like putting on my makeup and like getting ready. Even 5 to 10 minutes consistently over time will feel really good. Or a commute, if you have a commute to work or home or whatever. That is, I suggest when to do it. I am wicked ADD. Like, if you can't tell when I do a team call how ADD I am, but I am so ADD. I can't sit down and like open a book and read it, or like sit down and just like listen to the audio. I have to kind of be doing something at the same time. I'll usually listen to the same book back to back because I'm usually busy and I'm usually doing something. And so if I feel like maybe I didn't get all of it, I'll just listen to it again depending on the season. Or if it's like a Rachel Hollis book, I just love it. Or Brene Brown, and I just listen to it again because I'm just so bad. So that is the juggle. Then the next thing, and we've talked about this when we started our push group, and it's just a message thread in Instagram. It's not anything fancy. It's not supposed to be on top of anything, but it is, I listen to stuff at work. Yeah, well, even if you miss some things when you're listening to personal development, you're going to get some good stuff for sure. And you can always rewind, re-listen to a chapter. That's the difference of being worried that it's being perfect and just doing it. And my name is Samantha. I'm a recovering perfectionist. So that's not a like at you. That's a statement I have to tell myself all the time. So what was I saying? When we started the push group, we said to be in the push group, you had to commit to at least 2 to 5 invites every single day for, I think I said like 7 or 5 days, that you had to send the invite for to 2 to 5 people for like 7 days. And once we did it, we were all like, oh, inviting is so easy. Once you get it consistently down and it just becomes a consistent habit that you do, mind you, I said habit, not a daily motivation that you do, or a daily, oh my God, I'm so excited, I'm waking up and I'm oozing till I send my invites. No, it was a habit. It was like, I'm forcing myself to break this. And you have to think of it like, if you're someone like me who started in a challenge group and had never eaten healthy. And so at first, like, you kind of get a headache because you're not binge eating this like Sour Patch Kids that you have hidden behind the microwave. And it's like you're detoxing a little bit, or you've never done a workout. And I remember doing 21 Day Fix, day 1, total body cardio, and those surrenders. And I died. Like, I was like, this is 60 seconds and it feels like 35 years. And it just became a habit. So you have to force it a little bit. Now, there is fluffy stuff to it. There is fluffy where you can remind yourself that this is a gift, that where would you be if you were not here? What would you be spending your time be doing? I'm not saying that like if you weren't a coach, your whole life would be like crumbling. However, if I wasn't a coach, I would feel very empty. I would feel like I had no hope, because this business gives me hopes and dreams that before were literally just hopes and dreams, but now they're more goals. They're hopes and goals. It's, whatever Rachel Hall says, like their dreams with their work boots on. Like, it's like, I feel like I'm actually working towards this. So there is fluffy stuff you can do with inviting. There's fluffy stuff you can do with workout if that is something that you struggle to get down, or personal development. Give yourself a reward. Like, put a star on your calendar every time you did something, like whatever the habit is that you're really trying to do. But comfort is safe, but you will never have the life that you want if you stay within comfort. Okay, so you have to just force it and fluff yourself, I guess. I don't know, like tell yourself, pump yourself up, like this is a gift that these people, and even if you have not achieved some of the goals that you have set, maybe the first round of goals, lean on other people, lean on other stories because they've happened, and don't minimize the small goals that you have met. Maybe you came in and you set like a really big goal, but like there's all this space in between where you start and where that big first goal is, and you're moving closer towards it even if you don't feel like it. So sometimes you need to take a step back and think, oh yeah, I did get that paycheck and it did help me get X. I always share like my like income, like a check, in smaller numbers, because people can understand that more than like these top coaches who make like, full-time incomes in like, I don't know if you've seen any of their income. Some of it's very high. And for me, I just needed to make like $300 was my first big goal a month from Beachbody, because that would offset the cost of our daycare that I had just started having to pay for with Carter, and on top of my teaching salary that there was literally no room for that. And so, a $50 paycheck is getting me closer to $300. And so sharing the little is really motivating, and it's obtainable to people. We were, if anyone has seen, like, I don't want to name any names of other network marketings, that it's like, sign up and you can make $500 in the first 3 weeks. It's just not what this is, because we're actually changing lives, not just giving people a quick solution that they have to keep buying. So anyways, that's a whole other freaking tangent. But so you have to keep juggling, and you have to tell yourself that it's worth it. So I want you to really think for a second. Like, I'm actually going to be quiet and I'm going to make you think. Like, what is something that you really want? I'm a dreamer. Okay, I've been a dreamer since I was little. Like, I loved to daydream in my room, and even as an adult, like all the what ifs. Wouldn't it be so great if we could go to some tropical place? Or wouldn't it be so great if we could buy that house that was right down the street from my my aunt and uncle's house where we got married? Wouldn't it be so great if we could pay off our student loans and we could have extra money to do whatever? Now, I was a dreamer, and then I remember very specifically downloading it was 2015. Yeah, I downloaded this workbook from Pinterest or some blogger who had made it, and it was like the Dave Ramsey Get Out of Debt. And the concept, if you've never heard of Dave Ramsey and his like snowball, his total money makeover, is that you snowball any extra money you have into, like, you target one credit card or one store card or one student loan or whatever, wherever you're at in finances. And then when you pay that one off, you like roll that into the next one, and so it starts really slow at first, and then it is supposed to domino kind of big. Well, when I did our thing, we didn't even have $50 extra a month. So I was like on paper. So never mind if you have to like go to CVS and like pick up Tylenol or like, something, which then eats into that extra $50. And so I was like, oh my God, we're never, because I was a teacher and you're on a pay scale. You do not like do good and get a bonus, or do good and get a promotion, or do good. No, it was like, this is your pay scale for the rest of your life. And my husband was, and this was all the time where I started coaching, because I was like, I need more in my life. I am meant for more. I am not meant to feel anxiety every single time the bills are due, or every single time I want something and then feel a pit in my stomach because, oh my gosh, we could never do that. I don't like that. I don't like in this world that any of us feel like we just can't do something. I want us. I want you. I'm looking at all of your faces. I want you, whatever that dream is, to pay for things in full. I'm still paying off my freaking wedding. Okay? Like, let's just break it down on some real stuff. I want you to feel like all the things are there that you can do, not think about all the things that you can't do. But we have to work for it. And that all it starts with creating intentional habits. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do our Success Club tracker, and we're going to crush June. But then there's a few things that I want to talk about to give some tips, because I know I talk about the Success Club tracker, and ultimately we've done a lot of trainings on it. We've had a lot of team calls. You can search and you can fine tune what you need. But I want you to start, it keeps cutting off on my head. I want you to start thinking about your business as a business and planning it out. And I think we're doing really great at this, but I don't want to stop talking about it, because it's really easy. It's just like meal planning and meal prepping. It's so, well, actually, I don't really think it's easy to do. It's kind of difficult to do, but it's so worth it when you do it. Because for me, I'm like, I don't need a meal plan. I'm home. Like, I'll do the things. And then I'm standing in front of the fridge and I'm like, I don't know what to eat. And then I just like shove all the goldfish in my mouth, which I don't think there's anything wrong with goldfish. However, that's not a sustainable diet, and I will eat all of it. I hate cooking, and I just have to do it. So it's the same thing with your business, that you need to open up your calendar and say, when am I working? Have that conversation with your spouse and say, here are my goals. I have an Instant Pot. Girlfriend, I have all of it. I have all of it. This is not something that any appliance can fix. Unfortunately, I have tried. I have a pressure cooker, I have an Instant Pot, I have a crock pot, I have a air fryer, I have all of it. So you and my husband would make some great feasts. However, I would be over there like, would you like goldfish for dinner? So you need to get out your calendar, and you need to plan, have conversations with your spouse. Now, I have heard this a lot because I purposely have found things on YouTube about people talking about spouses in the business, and how, we're all women here, but how like we can get our husbands on board. And There is nothing wrong with saying, but you have to say it. I have these dreams. I think I can achieve them if I do X, Y, and Z. Here is what I need from you. What do you need to make this possible? So for example, and I'll use my husband, and one day I really want us to do a team call about how we like juggle this, but we're for sure not perfect. So I'm not going to pretend we are. But if I say, okay, I'm going to team call like tonight, like I have to remind him and that these are the things, and that like, hey, I need you specifically to cook dinner. And then he'll be like, well, I need you to help me. So when I say, what do you need? It's, well, I need you to help plan what we're going to have, and then I can execute it. And I'm like, okay, but here's the thing. When you go into this business or into the week or into the day and you're like, you don't explain expectations, then it's difficult, because then at the end, you're probably silently resentful and you didn't get what you needed to get done anyway. So then it just feels like this waste of time. So there has to be checks and balances with ever your spouse, or maybe it's not a spouse, or whoever you're living with, or whoever is contributing in your life. Unless you're single living by yourself, then you just need to crush it. Like, I mean, in your own way, whatever you need to. Like, if someone constantly invites you to happy hour, maybe tell them like, hey, I can only do happy hours on Thursdays and Fridays, like whatever. But that is a different thing that you have to have like some motivational quotes around your house. But you have to get out your calendar and plan what you're doing, and then say, here are my nights that I'm not doing anything. Here are my nights that I have to recharge, and what recharges you. So for me, I really like to online scrapbook. That is like my favorite me time. I really like to journal, and I really like to scroll Pinterest. But I won't do those things. I will just numb out on TV. So I'm all about this coaching opportunity, whole gig, improving your entire life. And so I want you to check yourself and think, when I'm not momming or working or building my business, am I just zoning out on TV? Because that's not recharging you. That is probably draining you. I don't think there's anything wrong with being like, my show is on. Okay, like Handmaid's Tale is the next season is coming out. That is my jam. Like, don't talk to me on a Wednesday night or a Thursday morning, because that is the priority. But there's nothing wrong with loving a show and looking forward to it and watching 1 or 2 episodes. If you are mindlessly scrolling TV or mindlessly watching the same sitcom over and over and over, and you're not doing anything else, you're probably numbing out on avoiding what you don't want to actually get done. So do something that really recharges you. All about self-care, right? Self-care is not like going to get a massage, but it's about being intentional. So on the nights that I'm like, I am going to scrapbook, I don't care if the house burns down, this is what I'm going to do. I will delete Instagram off my phone, because it is a habit to click it. It is a habit to open Facebook. I will delete it and I'll re-download it the next morning. Just because you are a Beachbody coach and you are like sharing your life on social media does not mean that you need to have it attached to you at all times. You have business hours, you have other things, you have family. I'm going to use example as Danielle. Danielle is really good at when she schedules out her weeks, she will intentionally tell us, I know her husband is off on Thursdays and Fridays. I know that from her schedule. Her husband is off on Thursdays and Fridays, and usually she's pretty unplugged. I mean, she has work, she teaches, so she has work on Thursdays and Fridays. So I usually see her story a little bit. But I know that that is her off time. I also know that Rachel and myself, just because we have shared these things with each other, are really trying for Sundays to be our unplugged day. You'll see a story a little bit, but we're really trying to force that, because it's the same thing we say with our workouts. It's just the next level of juggle. You cannot pour from an empty cup, but you have to be intentional. Don't think that that day is just going to come, that you're just going to be like, I have nothing to do today, I'm going to recharge all day. No, there's always something to do. So you have to be intentional and get it going on what you need to do. Now, the next level of juggling is planning out your posts. What am I talking about this week? What do I have coming up? And I know I haven't shared the calendar yet, so I know that. But I have said multiple times that we have our sneak peek into coaching coming. And then for me, and Brenna is starting, she's in prep week this week, and we are in week 1. So you kind of know like, hey, we're not starting a challenge group next week. So you know what you're inviting to, you know where you're coming up, you know what you're talking about. Now think. Action builds confidence and action breeds more action. So if you are inviting, what are the objections that you're getting right now? What have you gotten yesterday? What did you get the day before? What are the objections that you're getting? Address them in your posts, or in your Instagram stories. So here is a challenge I have for you guys, that when you're doing your workout clips, I want you to type like in words in the font, an answer to an objection. So you don't have to be like, Rachel asked, how much does this cost? Samantha answers, this. No, but make it into a story. Like again, mind you, Rachel is like right, and I know everyone's screen is different, but she's like right here. That's why I keep using her. But she could say, if I was Rachel, I could say, I watched my coach from August till December until I was ready to jump into a fit camp because I was so hesitant on cost. Next slide. It has been a great decision because X, Y, and Z. The next day, I stream, I didn't know what to do at the gym. I stream my workouts. Tell a story. Be intentional. Be on the offense of these things, not the defense. So a lot of the times, and I watch this one coach, and I wouldn't say she does it every day because I don't follow her. I have to like type her name in to like go. So I don't see her every day. But every time I've gone and looked, I have seen that that's what she does, or she'll say what she's currently focusing on, like at the moment, like that she didn't want to do this workout, that she really wanted to stay in bed, that she had struggled with quitting for years when she would go to classes at the gym. This has been the most consistent she's ever been. Whatever your story is, but I bet, here's my challenge. We're on day 2 of our challenge group. If you, for 21 days straight, tell your story in printed form and tell your objections, like, people who are, especially if someone is like actually asking you a question, then writing it out the answer. I bet when it's time to fill your challenge group, you will have less objections. That's the same thing with Shakeology. If you're never sharing why you love Shakeology, people don't understand the value. So when you're like, hey, here's this $4, $134 thing, they're like, girl, you crazy. I can go to Safeway right down the street and there's protein powder right there, but people don't understand what it is. So you have to, of course they're calling right now. You have to make an intention to share the value of these things. So the value of the fit camp, the value of Shakeology, the value of coaching, but you have to be on the offense, not the defense. Of course, you're still going to get objections. Of course, you're still going to get concerns. That is part of the game. You never, ever, ever skip it, ever. However, like I said in the very beginning of the call, when people are questioning the cost and they're really thinking about it and they're talking it out with you, that means when they come in, they're going to go all in. And when they go all in, that's a life that you have changed. And that's how you build a business. So the next challenge I have is I want you to think, and this is also something I was talking to Rachel about, how are you going to add value? Because I was thinking about me. This is just me. This is not anything. My friend once asked me, because she was like, she was in my fit camp since like when we first had our babies, like in 2015. And I was telling her about someone, and I was like, and her thing, I think I was Ashley Melissa. I was like, and her thing is that like she loves to drink and like she's a fitness person. And then then she asked about, she's like, oh, I follow this one girl, and she showed her, and I was like, oh yeah, her thing is this. And then I was like, and she goes, well, what is your thing? And I was like, I don't know, that I don't shower. I don't know. So, and no, that's not really my thing. I mean, I know I add more value, but it sparked a thought. And then Rachel and I were talking the other day of how can we add more value? And I don't want this to be something of like, hey, here's something else you need to do. Here's more work. In my lifetime of the business, there have been times that I have sat down and made like a visual or a document for my team or for people, like I have something and I need to bring it back up. Siri is typing everything I say right now. I like have made stuff where I used to send out Shakeology samples and I like typed something up. And so when I put it in the mail, it was just ready to go, or like meal plans and stuff like that. But most of the time, especially in this world of Instagram and instant gratification, you do not need to do a lot more, like, and get like and add value to people. So for example, 2 examples. One, if you had a recipe, like easy recipe, you guys. I mean, I guess unless you're Anna and you went to you have a culinary background, and maybe you have like a more experienced palate and you would like better recipes, then she would share a recipe. Like she could just share a recipe and put the recipe on her Instagram stories, just taking the time to type it out or snapping a picture, because people are just going to screenshot what they like. Think of an influencer that you follow. All you do is screenshot. Like, oh, she got that shirt and she's tagging whatever online, because there's not just like Old Navy and Target, like, you know, me. That's what I do. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, there's this whole world of online shopping and these places that people can get things. You just snapshot it. So, or if you're doing an activity with your kids, which sometimes they seem so simple of what you're doing, but simple is great. Simple recipes are great. I remember still, I have this 5 ingredient recipe muffin that I got from Pinterest. And that's, that's totally your thing. It is probably when I post that I make these muffins, I get so many DMs asking about them. Okay, great. So a great way to add value is to share that more often. So one way to think about how am I going to add value is not something that you're necessarily already an expert on. It could be, but it could be just something, what are you currently trying to work on? So for example, for me, I'm really, really, really trying to meal plan and meal prep. It's difficult for me. I'm really working on it. The most easiest way for me to, 1, stay accountable to my own goal is to do it. And 2, to add value, because people like me are going to have the same struggles like me, which is meal planning and meal prepping, is to share that. That doesn't mean I need to make a fancy like meal plan every single week. It will be my goal to maybe type one out once a month and send it to anybody who wants it, because right, I already have to do it. That's keeping me more accountable, and then I'm adding value to someone else. I'm saying, here you go, here's this for free. But the other easier way is when you're meal prepping, take a picture of it, and then even if it's 1 day a week, you share it. Or when you're looking at your 9 slides on Instagram, is, every few, like it could be your thing that every 3 or every 4, you share a recipe, and then you share the recipe with it. If you're sharing something from the Ultimate Portion Fix, or like, I don't exactly know how that works. Rachel and I were talking about it, but I'm sure you're doing recipes outside of that book, like easy things. Like, for example, when I was teaching, every day when I got to school, I would warm up my oatmeal in 1 scoop of peanut butter and then put on my whole cup of berries. And it was so filling and so delicious, and people always liked it. They would always ask, like, when I would, because this was back on the Facebook days, when I would ask, they'd be like, oh, this is such a great idea. Like, I should do that. It's so quick, so easy, so simple. Keep it simple, sister. So, okay, if you have a goal of doing a new activity with your kids every single week, or a new activity in the classroom, or a new bulletin board, share what you're already doing and what's already working. But we want to add value to people so that they kind of have a reason to keep coming back. And I don't mean that like us just sharing our everyday routine is not motivating, because it shows that we are overcoming a lot of the excuses that a lot of people have, right? We're too busy, we don't have time, but we want there to be more, not just like, hey, I do my workout. Like, because eventually it's kind of like, well, that's great, you do your workout, super good for you, but what's more? And adding value in that way. And I think that recipes is the easiest. Kids activities is super easy, but whatever that is for you that you do well, like if you're a makeup person, you could easily one day just like share your steps for your makeup, or that is so not me, but you know, people who like that stuff love that stuff. Or I actually do get a lot of questions about this as if it was planned, not this day because it looks my bun. I'm referring to my bun. But like the other day when I did a messy bun, someone asked me about it, and I was like, oh, you know, it's the simple things that we do every single day that are actually interesting to other people. Future emoji shirt. Brenna says that one day she's just going to give me like a silhouette picture of like this Cindy Lou Who business going on. It's going to be really epic. So adding value, but when we think about all of these things, it can be overwhelming. But if you plan it out, what is your goal right now? And maybe your goal is to get up early in the morning. Share that accountability and then share what's working for you. It doesn't, again, these are not like earth-shattering things that you're like, oh my God, I have to create this new like concept or new thing. No, no. Just share, like snap a picture at night and be like, literally guys, write it out. Don't what is it like when you assume you're an ass, or like you make an ass out of yourself? I know it's really harsh, and I think it's a nicer way to say it somehow, the phrase, but essentially you're making an ass of yourself if you're assuming. So if you struggle with getting up early in the morning, you writing out like 4 days a week, you guys, because first of all, not everyone sees every single one of your Instagram stories. Not everyone remembers all of your Instagram stories. So it's kind of conceited to think like, oh, when I like, I don't need to post this again. I just posted about it yesterday. Not everybody saw. Half the time people are scrolling through your stuff, like lovingly. Even I know people do that to my stuff, but we are thinking about ourselves. So if you're like, every single night this week, I'm going to lay my workout clothes. I'm going to have like my kitchen area cleaned up so my Energizer is ready. That is motivating to people. That is like, oh, I could do that. Or I'm putting my phone on the other side of the room so I have to get out of the bed so I don't snooze. Whatever it is, your thing that you're working on and how you're overcoming it is adding value to other people. Then whatever this goal is, maybe one time a month, sit down and maybe like write it out. So if it's meal planning, make a good meal plan and then say, hey, does anybody want me to send this to them? And then just offer to send it. Or, hey, these are the 4 activities I did this month with my kids, and they were super easy, and they were all stuff I had around the house or stuff I just had to get at the grocery store with my normal pickup. Here they are. Or here are my top 5 tips. And eventually I really want us to get to a place where this is super overwhelming. Brace yourself, that you're collecting emails from people. I have started this because it has been a thing that I've been told for a really long time and have never ever done it. And to start sending things to people. So right now, all I'm doing is my goal, like, right? You have to learn to juggle. So the only thing I'm doing right now is saying like, hey, this is my goal. I'm going to make a meal plan and I'm going to say, drop your email and I'll send it to you. And then eventually when I get that juggle down, I can increase it. I can do more, but that's that. So it was kind of a weird call that I like covered a lot of things. However, the grand scheme of this is that motivation is a big fat myth. And you have to establish a habit. And it's never going to be the right time because your brain is always going to say, hey, over there is uncomfortable. I would like to stay over here, even if I'm, these people, right? How many times, drop in the chat, have you messaged somebody and they message you back and are like, I just feel so, sluggish, or, and they say really mean things about themselves sometimes. Like, I feel disgusting, or I feel awful, and I'm just tired, and I don't want this, and and you're like, girl, come be my fit camp. I have the solution for you. But it doesn't matter because they know what uncomfortable feels like, and they're there. So the brain says, well, at least I know what's going on here, so I'm gonna just stay here. But we're not being eaten by a tiger. So it's never going to be a good time. Your kids are always going to have something. And I'm not like, literally, if you're having a baby next week or you're moving next week, Elise on the call, when she listens to the recording, like, maybe don't start like a giant push 2 days before you move across country. like quoting Rachel Hollis, like, don't be dumb. But for the most part, there is never a great time. You need to communicate with the people you need to communicate with and say, I'm going to go hard. What do you need from me? You need Saturday night, me and you date night, phone in the other room. You want me to like turn it off, get it away, just like you and I, some alone time, quality time. And I bet you that 4 hours of alone time on a date night or like after the kids go to bed is better quality time than every single night after dinner binge watching Friends or whatever, because you're both just sitting on your phones. You're not really engaging in conversation. So be intentional. Tell your partner, the people in your life, what you need from them. Ask them what they need from you. Plan out what your goals are. Your personal fitness journey is important. What are your goals this week? I need to make sure, like Brenna plans out when she has her workouts. She's a social worker. She works minimum 4 10-hour shifts. Never mind commute. Never mind if a patient can't get checked out. Homegirl has her workouts scheduled first. She plans out her rest days. She does her stuff. She can't feel good if she's not doing, the best she can for her own fitness journey. Then what else do you have? Is it meal planning? Is it meal prepping? Whatever it is, add in something small every single week for your own journey and share it. That's it. You're just going to type on the picture on your Instagram stories what you're doing. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. Just do it. If you're worried, this was something I had for forever. I never would share what I was eating because I had the ugliest bowls, the ugliest plates. And I was like, well, I don't want to buy anything new because we don't really have the money for that. Guys, I went to IKEA and I got 6 bowls for $6. And I was like, why for 2 years have I not done this? Like I had like one good plate, and if like the food got a picture if it was on the good plate. And then I went to IKEA and I was like, oh my gosh. Or posting on paper plates, which is fine. I don't know why. Again, I'm an Enneagram 1 perfectionist. So I'm struggling. Hi, my name is Samantha and I'm a recovering perfectionist. But not recovering. What is it when you're like in it? Like I would only be like like the chips. This is such an AA joke, but like the chips, like I would only get probably like, I would have a lot of 24-hour sober chips from perfectionists. So anyways, but I'm just saying whatever is holding you back, like just get over it and just do it anyways. So, and yes, Sabrina recovers so well. Yes, and I saw Tiffany has been showing her workouts. You just have to add it in slowly. Don't jump off the deep end and be like, oh my gosh, I'm doing everything super uncomfortable. That's so uncomfortable for me. Just small baby steps, overcoming. And then the next thing, every single day this month, I guess every day you do a workout and share a clip. Or I have been recording when I log my stuff on the app because I can like say what I was challenged with that day in regards to the workout and show that I'm posting it in the accountability group, which I really like. But that, or on your workout, type an objection answer. So an objection to cost, an objection to time, an objection to people who are like, well, aren't your workouts like Jane Fonda or whatever? Like whatever you're getting for objections or whatever you thought before you were in an accountability group, you are going to say you're going to be on the offense, not the defense, because whatever you thought or what one person is saying to you, possibly other people are thinking. So just be on the offense. Just handle that objection. And if you get in the habit of doing that 4 times a week, and you're inviting consistently, because you just have to force it, it's not going to happen. You are not going to have the motivation. Keep in mind what you want for life. Keep in mind the dreams, what could come from this business. If you went all in, if you invited every single day this month, what that income from Success Club, from Success Club 10, from cycle bonusing, what that could bring to your family, you need to just do it. You need to just do it. Don't be me, who says in her mind, the mean girl in my mind says, well, if you don't go all in, then you can't really be mad at yourself because you didn't really put yourself out there. Put yourself out there. Do it anyways. Fight through it. Live the life you've always wanted. Do the things. Have the hustle. Crush the month. That's it. That's my call. Mic drop. Boom. End call. Just kidding. So I'll stop the recording. But if anyone has any questions Or, oh, just kidding. I stopped my camera.